Hey everyone! Today I'm going to make a partition that consists of vertical members, just like what's shown on the screen. This type of partition is good to separate two rooms that doesn't need a solid wall, so people still be able to pick through it and let the air flow between the vertical members from one room to the next room. I've seen this type of partition many times in today's building design, so I want to make a Revit family of it that I can use over and over again in upcoming projects. I could also use a curtain wall system to make it, but I think a Revit family is easier and more simple to use, as long as I don't need to do any fancy shape or sketch to it. This family object should have parametric dimensions that allow me to change the width or length and the height of the partition and the size of the members, as well as changing the finished material. Now let's check out how I'm going to build it. Let's open a new project. I'll use metric. I'll just name it project. We should be on a floor plan now. I will create a floor. We will put the partition on this floor. So now I'm going to make a family to load into this. New family. Let's use this generic model line based. Save it as so. Let's create the framework now. We have length here. First of all, check the project units. Make sure, yes, I'm using metrics, millimeters. Okay. Now change the family category. I wanna make it as a casework. Casework. I'm going to check this one. Work plane based. Okay. Now go to the front. I don't have the height yet. I'm going to create the reference plane for the height. Give parameter label. I'm going to use height. The height will be instance parameters, so we can have a different height for the same type of partitions. To reduce the risk of errors, I will not make the baluster objects inside this family. I will create it in the different family file instead and load it into this family file. Now let's create a new family. I will just use this metric generic model. I'm going to create a reference line for pick lines. Align it. Lock. I will give parameter for the length of this reference line. Click on the reference line, click this symbol, click this and label it. Add a parameter. This will be the height of the baluster. Don't forget to save it as. Now let's create the sweep. I'm just going to use pick path and just pick on this one. Pick on the reference line. So we don't need to lock the end of it. It will follow the height of the reference line, the length of the reference line. Now let's create the profile. Let's go to maybe front elevation. Okay, it's the shape is, I'm just going to eyeball it. It will look like this, but let me just give it a dimension. I'm going to use the intersection of the dashed green lines as a center. So let's dimension it like this and give it an equal value. Give it equal and give it give this guy, this dimension, a parameter. I will name it depth for this one. Do the same thing for the width. Give it a value. Four centimeters for the width and 8 centimeters for the depth. Click OK. Click OK. Let's test it. Change the length or the height. Yeah, it will follow along. Now, before we load it into the partition.rfa, make sure, let's come here under tab create, click this one, family category and parameters. Make sure this one is unchecked instead of the always vertical. Click OK. Then let's load it to the partition RFA. Place on work plane. We are on the front elevation, so just correct already. Let's just put it here for now. I want the end of this members stops on this line, so let's make the dimensions the same. I will associate the dimensions of these members to the dimensions of this partition RFA file. This will be the same value of this parameter right here. So click on this guy. Okay, so just click this guy here, click height, click OK. Alright, let's test it out. It looks good. Alright, now let's go to the reference level. We will array this from here to here. Make sure this last check, make it maybe 8, and let's give this a formula. Now I want to have the distance between members about 8 centimeters. Let's click on the symbol line next to the array amount number and give it a parameter. This will be the amount of baluster, and this will be an instance. Now I want to have this first baluster stops here, but I want it to be on this side, and also this baluster stops here but on this side, not on the center but on this side. So let's align it. Alright, but the length of the array will take it from the center of this member to the center of this member. So I will have to create a constraint for that one. Create a parameter. Just leave it as type. Now we have already associated the height of this member to the height of our partition, but we haven't associated the width and the depth of this member yet. So let's do that. Click on this and make sure you click on the model, not on the array member. Use tab on your keyboard to pick it. Go edit type and click on this associate family parameter. This will be the depth. Enter and do the same thing for the width. And if you don't have these parameters, you can just go add parameters and create it. I'm going to give this parameter a formula, and n to center of member is the width of the member divided by 2. Give a formula here. Okay. Don't forget to align these two to this line. Align. Also this one. Now let's test it. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to keep the distance always the same, so the member will be more when the length is more, and the amount of member will be less when the length is shorter. So let's do that. Let's add a parameter here. Length, it's under length and under dimension. Okay, let's make it as a type. Let's say the distance is about 8 centimeters. Now the amount of the balusters, if the number that we get from when we create the array of the members, now we will give it a formula. So the amount of the balusters will be the length divided by the distance of the members. So this is going to be length. Make sure you type it exactly the same as this. Divide by member to member distance. It is case sensitive. Let's apply. Okay, if it's correct, it should be about 80 millimeters apart. Okay, yeah, it's about right. Now we can load it to our project. Make sure this checked. Make sure the place on work plan button clicked. Click to start the partition and click it again to end it. We can even make it in angle. Now let's see it in 3D view. Let me give it an elevation. This is a really bad elevation symbol, but it's okay for now. You can also adjust the height. Maybe offset it from the floor. Okay, now I'm going to do the materials. So click the object and go edit family. From here, pick one of the member. Use tab to pick it. Go edit family. Click on the member. Click the small box next to the material. Go add parameter. Partition baluster. Choose type. Click OK. Now if I click this, the material is associated to the family parameters. Let's check this. Partition. So we have it here. Okay. Let's load it into partition. Click one of this. Edit type. Partition baluster. Let's associate it one of material on the list here. We don't have it yet. Let's add it up. Let's load it to the project. Click here. Go edit type. So we will have it here. Let's give it a material. New. Replace assets. Let's pick one of the wood. Click here. Render appearance, click OK. Change the visual style. Now we have it.